57. Good evening, everyone. International Homeopathic Foundation welcomes you all on this important online panel discussion, Patient Safety and Welfare, a discussion for conventional FDCs and homeopathic medicine. So moving forward, I would request Dr. Monica Singh, Vice President Academics and Scientific Committee, to please take over and start the session. Dr. Monica, over to you.
Yeah. Good evening to all and welcome to this IHF platform. As we all know that government has banned 156 fixed dose combinations of conventional medicine. So IHF decided to hold this panel discussion for our patients' welfare. So first of all, since Dr. Muktinder Singh sir is not there, so I will be introducing first our panel of experts. First, I welcome Dr. R.N. Vahi sir, co-founder, President IHF, CEO, Homeopathic Pharmaceutical Association of India, Chairman, Organizing Committee, South Delhi Homeopathic Association. Good evening, sir. And we are honored to have Dr. Professor R.S. Taneja, sir, who is ex-HOD Department of Medicine, RML Hospital, New Delhi. And currently, he is Professor, Department of Medicine, ESIC Medical College and Hospital, Faridabad. We welcome you, sir. Then we have Dr. M. Ramesh. He is Scientific Officer Microbiology in Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, Ministry of Ayush. Is Member Secretary for Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Committee of PSIMNH and Member Secretary for Expert Panel constituted for preparation of guidelines for NOSORS. He has done many research publications. We welcome you, Dr. Ramesh. Next, we welcome Dr. Jaswant Patil from Mumbai. He is MD Chest Medicine from Seth GS Medical College, Mumbai, and BHMS from Chamunda Mata Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Jalgaon. With more than 38 years of experience, he expertises in cardiology and chest diseases, treating patients who also need critical care with holistic approach. Good evening, sir. Next, we are fortunate to have Dr. Jawahar Shah with us. He is Director, Ayush Wheels Foundation, IIT. He is a successful clinician and dedicated homeopath serving humanity since 40 plus years by integrating technology and knowledge. We welcome you, sir. And last but not the least, we have our young and dynamic Dr. Amita Arora, co-founder, Secretary IHF, founder of ACE Homeopathy, treating patients across the globe since more than 22 years with great dedication. Welcome, Dr. Amita, in your own platform. So, is Dr. Muktinder sir here?
He has not yet joined, but we will start.
I will introduce him. Yeah, I will give his short introduction. He is Chairman, Academic and Scientific Committee, IHF, and is HOD Repertory at SGND Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Ludhiana. So soon he should be there because he is the moderator, Dr. Amita.
No worries. We will start with Dr. Vahi, sir.
Okay.
So as Dr. Muktinder sir has given me this responsibility to at least start the session on time. So I would just like to ask Dr. R.N. Vahi sir first that sir आपने इतने decades जो हैं आपकी practice में भी हुए आपको you are part of two major organizations and you have been heading Pharmaceuticals India also. So I would just like to know, sir, कि आपने इतने time period में जो changes देखे, and what is your take on the action of the government actually, who has banned these 156 drugs, combination drugs, in fact. So over to you, sir, please. You can unmute yourself. So you can unmute yourself. You are already given permission to unmute yourself.
No, I have done it, but I don't know why it is being disturbed again and again. Now am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So the question which you are posing to me, it is consisting in two parts. One is the changes observed in these decades of changing phases of life in practice, and second is my take on the government's decision. First part, of course, is somewhat lengthier because I have already completed 57 years in practice. And there have been a lot of changes in the clinical practice in my 57 years, which I have been observing. And I still remember the preface in the textbook of pathology by Dr. William Boyd. And at that time in the book, it was borrowed by me from British Council Library. As the original print, it was beyond my pocket. So in the preface, I always remember, and to confess with all of you that although it was a library book, but still I couldn't resist myself by underlying certain things. But I'm taking only the first one part. And in the book, he had mentioned these days old diseases are fading away, and they are being replaced by the newer ones, which are iatrogenic, that is man-made in nature. To explain this narrative, he quoted, when babysitters are being replaced by tranquilizers and antibiotics are being taken as a panacea for all conditions, it is small wonder that new diseases are being created are much more virulent. And I have really observed this thing in my practice all these years. As the disease, they change their course from protozoa to bacteria and then to viruses. And to add to this, not many years back, I think hardly 2 or 3 years back, I had gone to a bookshop again to explore this particular book. And I was shocked to find that the preface which was there in the original title, it has been all changed. Obviously, there are different interests in that. Now, those were the days, when I had entered the profession, those were the days, GPs were the main contact points for the patients. These general practitioners, they used to dispense the simple medicine in their own clinics. In the cases where this category felt the need for higher consultations, they used to refer the patients to the MDs or MS. The MDs, after understanding the disease condition of the patient, they would write the long prescription which needed to be dispensed by the dispensing chemist, who would again put a stamp on the prescription mentioning that the entry into his register. That was the way, and that way there was no chance of self-medication. And needless to mention that at that time, there were hardly any side effects of the medicines. In cases which required hospitalization, they were admitted under the care of the physician or the surgeon, depending on the condition. And in these cases which required hospitalization, they were admitted under the care of the physician or the surgeon, who used to be accountable from the time of admission till the discharge from the hospital. At that time, medicine was more practiced that way in Europe, and it was so in India, and surgery was dominated by USA. Gradually, what had happened, the pharma lobby of the US, which led to the beginning of the fixed dose combinations, and the pressure of this lobby led to amendments in the drugs and cosmetic rules. On one hand, the package would mention all the indications where the drugs could be used. It would mention the discomforts. They won't mention the side effects. They would mention the discomforts which the patient could face. And these were mentioned, many other IPOs, etc., and so on and so forth. That would be in very fine print, which is not easily readable. And for the conditions commonly used, these combinations used to be given as the first line of treatment, leading to suppression of symptoms. And the patient would say that his disease or disease, I would put it has been cured. The popularity in the use of these combination drugs led to abolition of dispensing chemists, and these fixed dose combinations, maximum of them, they were allowed to be used under as OTC products, which is over the counter. That means anybody could purchase these combinations before without the prescription of the doctor. And this was something, that OTC led to the abuse of this medication. And now, of course, the dispensing chemist class has also become extinct. Gradually, more and more developments in the diagnostic part. The era of over super specialization started because of the protocols being introduced. One specialist in a particular branch would not give his opinion regarding the problem in the other areas. There was an article, it was an Australian booklet, which in sarcasm to compartmentalization of the human system mentioned these days we have cardiologists, we have got pulmonologists, we have got neurologists, nephrologists, hematologists, dermatologists, etc., etc. But where is the man in the entire approach? That was his concern in that article. Much more actually could be told about changes in the medical system, where non-medico business class is controlling the economy in the healthcare system. I can tell the names of them, but then I think I will be going out of the context. And what are the changes what we could observe? That the branch of hygiene public health, designated as social and preventive medicine and now as community medicine, they are the most ignored branches. Then clinical medicine has been replaced by the laboratory, diagnostic industry. Then cancer, vaccination, coronary bypass, angioplasty, etc. have all become industries in themselves. Treatment costs have risen exorbitantly without the actual benefit, and the patient remains the ultimate casualty. This was what I have observed in all these years. Maybe we can all have differences of opinion, but this is what I have observed. Now, coming to the second part of your question which you put, that was the impact of government's decision on the healthcare in banning these 6-dose combination drugs. I remember that my teacher, late Dr. Devan Harishchand, in a CME, during a discussion on drug addictions, mentioned the reference to Encyclopedia Britannica, which specifically mentioned that it is the medical profession which is largely responsible for creation of drug addiction. Under such situation, now prevalent, our government's decision is very bold and must be appreciated by all those who sincerely adopt the profession to serve the humanity. This step, government has taken a bold step, but this step would also bring number of challenges into the government, and government would have to remain firm, as it happened during COVID-19, when it did not succumb to the pressure of entry of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines in India, although which delayed the clearance of Covaxin for administration. This is also an opportune time when the homeopaths have we should have more and more confidence in handling our system in acute conditions, while respecting the limitations in each case as well. So this is what I have to my take on your question. I could go in much more in detail, but then there are time constraints which you have pointed out. So this is what my take is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Muktinder sir is with us now. Dr. Muktinder sir, please take over.
Yes, very good evening and welcome all to this International Homeopathic Foundation panel discussion. Thank you, Dr. Wahi sir, for throwing such a detailed light on in such a short time. So today we have with us panelist, as already introduced by Dr. Monica. So I will not take much time. So as we all are aware that today's topic is about certain FDC combinations which are banned by the authorities to be used. So I would first invite respected Dr. Rajesh Taneja sir to throw us the light, because most of us, those who have joined are homeopaths. So we would like to know that what are these FDCs and what are the authorities which take check on these, and what was the need of imposing a ban on these FDC drugs. I would like you, because you are a hardcore allopath and related to the practice. So we would like to know the subject, that what from your point of view. Dr. Taneja sir, welcome
Good
sir.
evening to all, and good evening, Muktinder sir. It is a pleasure to be on this program. And being an allopath, we are certainly concerned about this fixed dose drug combinations. It has caused a havoc to our medical system. And we really, as a allopath, I am of the view that I'm absolutely against using FDCs broadly the way it is being used now, except for where they are rational. And it would be shocking for you to know that in the list of drugs which are in the National Essential Drug List, there are only 22 rational drug combinations. Rest all the combinations are thought to be irrational, which are being used by the pharmaceutical companies for whatever purpose, we don't know. But I feel that for any health system, you have four pillars. The first is the government bodies who regulate the drug approvals. The second is the pharmaceutical company who manufacture the drug. They have their own interests. The third pillar is, of course, the physicians who prescribe them. And finally, the consumers form the fourth pillar. Unfortunately, in this case, all the four pillars are shaky. You know, there's a mismatch between the state legislative authorities and the central drug control boards. A lot of drugs have been given permission by the state authorities without consultation of the CDSCO. We know that. And advantages being taken of the what you would call I would call it negligence at the central level, why these drugs are being allowed. Now, I would give you a simple example. You know, for a drug to be useful as a combination, you would like the drug, both the drugs which are being used in a combination, to improve the efficacy of the combination. You don't want them to act at cross purposes. You would like them to have an improved pharmacokinetics. You would also like them to be useful to the patient as they reduce the pill burden. And then it should be, they should not have any drug interaction between them. And the cost, overall cost, should be less than the ingredients which were separately being used. And there should be scientific data. So those are all the earmarks for which a rational drug combination should be made. But unfortunately, in India has the maximum FDCs anywhere in the world, and the maximum list of irrational FDCs, and also the maximum antimicrobial irrational list of FDCs, and again the highest antimicrobial resistance. In my ICU, we find superbugs in patients. We have covered them with all the top antibiotics, and we are not able to now do anything for them. So the things have come to that state where you are giving to the patient a combination drug. He may require one drug, he may not require the other drug. And we are giving him that fixed doses, which may not be appropriate. You know, if you look at the single drug list, there is about an 800 drug list in the Indian Pharmacopoeia. There are about 23, 24 parameters where you can check them and see, and then you can regulate them and give them permission. But if you have a combination drug, 2 combination, 3 drug, 4 drug, 5 drug combination, it's impossible for them to meet all those, anybody to find out if they meet the 24 step criteria. And the bioavailability of the drug would also be questionable. So you would have a combination of a drug which are not bioavailable. The pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics are mismatched. The efficacy is reduced. Sometimes the cost, instead of going down, goes up. And it is the fourth pillar, the consumers suffer in this case. So for me, a lot of combination, say I will give you an example. You have a combination of cefixime with azithromycin, which has now been banned. Now imagine azithromycin has a half-life of 68 hours. It remains in the body for almost 15 days. Cefixime has a half-life of 3 to 4 hours. And then it remains in the body for 9 hours. You are combining both of them. They would peak at the wrong time. They would not be efficacious together. And they are being sold by major companies. I don't want to name the company, major multinational companies who are now gone to court to get a stay on that, and they are still being available, which is ridiculous. Similarly, a combination of meropenem with sulbactam used in the IC, which is again banned now, but still available till the court removes the ban. It just doesn't make sense. So even a simple thing is, if you have on this 384 and now 499 drugs which have been banned, supposing you have paracetamol 500 milligrams is in the list of the essential medicines and considered approved. Now, if you have a drug, you just have to have a drug which is of a higher dose. Say you have made paracetamol of 650 milligrams, or you make paracetamol of 1000 milligrams. And if the drug is banned, just by changing the dose, you would be able to get it in the market and get a license for that. So the rules need to be strictly monitored. The state and the central authorities need to come on the same page. We require a robust medical health system, so that, the drug resistance problem which is now developing, we are able to overcome that. Otherwise, in the future, you will have no antibiotics to treat the patients. Similarly, the third pillar, the physicians like me, we have to blame partially also. They found that out of the 366 drugs which have been banned, about 80% drugs, FDCs, were being still prescribed by the physicians. Now, they don't have an updated knowledge of the drugs combinations. They don't have probably an updated knowledge of the ban, or maybe the pharmaceutical companies' representatives have some influence on them, whatever reason. They continue to prescribe them. That is one portion which the physician should take blame for. And the consumers now. Should we leave the consumers out of it also? Now, consumers are to blame. They go for self-medication. They go to the pharmacist. Supposing you go to a pharmacist and the doctor has prescribed a drug A with one ingredient. The pharmacist says A is not available, but I have a combination of A plus B, which is much better. And it will cover even this and that additionally. And you say, all right, give me the combination B. So all these things are being allowed. Pharmacists have a lot of the consumers take managed treatment from the pharmacist, trying to avoid the doctor's fees. And this sort of practice is going on. The consumers also sometimes are partially to blame for self-medication. So all these pillars have some lacuna at some level. A need is required to regulate these, have a national repository of the essential drugs which are rational. They should be available online for everybody to access. They should know a list of the irrational FDCs so that the patient can have a look at them and tell the doctor that what you are prescribing to me is an irrational FDC. So these are important things which have to be seen at the level. So
thank you, Dr. Rajesh. So from you have very precisely encapsulated the whole matter into very few words, all these 4 pillars which are important. But it is very unfortunate to listen from you that there are so many loopholes that if a slight combination in the milligrams or some formulation, they can be reintroduced. So
it can be reintroduced. You can just add you add caffeine to a combination and then it is out of your banned list. You add any other ingredient, add a vitamin, add a reviprazole or something.
So this is really a very serious issue as the end customer, and the another issue which you have raised is of that of self-medication, which I'll come again in the second round. Now I would like to invite Dr. M. Ramesh, who is into the Ministry of Ayush and into the regulations. Sir, can you please start your camera so that I can see that you are in the room? So then I would ask you the question. So now second panelist is Dr. M. Ramesh who is from Ministry of Ayush. Sir, I would like to ask now, coming from conventional or allopathic medicine. Now I'm coming to the Ayush system of medicines, that do we have any regulation in the Ayush systems about regulation, formation of combinations, and their prescription protocols? Because in homeopathy, especially I would focus on homeopathy, in Ayurveda, in every Unani, we have this kind of combination drugs. All are combination drugs, but is there any rational or irrational, ethical or unethical, or anything, there any approval or any authority in Ayush system of medicine about the formation of drug combinations and their sale into the market? Sir. Dr. Ramesh, we cannot hear you.
Dr. Ramesh, sir, you can unmute yourself. He's already unmute, sir.
Yes, you are unmute. Please speak.
Ramesh, sir, do you need any kind of help?
Can you hear me? If you can hear, please raise your hand so that I know that you are hearing me. You can listen me? Dr. Ramesh.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Please. Sir, have you heard my question? Dr. Ramesh?
Dr. Ramesh, sir, you need any kind of help? So can we move to another panelist? Then in the meanwhile, I'll just connect with him over the phone if he needs any help.
Yes. So our next panelist is Dr. Jaswant Patel, sir. Hello, sir. He's a kind friend and very senior homeopath, allopath turned homeopath. So, sir, that's why we have asked you to be the part of this discussion, that you are a bridge between the two, conventional and homeopathic prescription. So I would like to have your comments on this FDCs as well as combination drugs available into homeopathy market also, which are being sold. So Dr. Jaswant, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's a burning question of today. Dr. Taneja in allopathy has already said the bad things about the combinations also. And there are some good things of the combination in conventional medicines. Now, these are the combinations which are made.
Yes, actually, madam, my mic is something creating problem. Just give me 5 minutes. I will.
Dr. Ramesh, you are now
Are you
audible.
hearing my voice?
You are now audible. You are now
Madam,
audible.
are you hearing my voice?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
I think let him speak. then.
Hello,
Yes, you are
but I'm
audible.
not hearing your voice.
You can, sir, continue. Have you heard my question? Sir, you please continue. We'll just take him when he comes in. Maybe he has logged out. He'll come again.
Dr. Jaswant Patil, sir.
You please unmute yourself.
Now, see, the
Yes,
host
yes.
was not allowing to unmute, so that is the problem that is going on.
Uh-huh.
Host has allowed to unmute, so I
Now
could.
you are unmuted. You can please continue. So sorry for inconvenience.
See, the combinations, what Dr. Taneja already said in the conventional medicines, they are to a larger extent of the combinations. But when it comes to a compliance and the results, where there are good combination effects and antidotal combination effects that we see in homeopathy. So many a times, this there are a lot of, I think the pharma company is making combinations in homeopathy, and people are getting results from there. So it raises a question whether these combinations are right and wrong. If you see in the allopathic combinations, there are a lot of drug reactions, but in homeopathy, we do not know, as it is not very well studied, that whether these drug reactions are a combination of different medicines are causing the effect or not. But if we see that in the vital force, when it is unhealthy, the same medicine proves the symptoms. But when it is unhealthy or in a disease state, it may not prove the symptoms. So the selection of homeopathic drugs in a classical way is not everybody's cup of tea. There are many students in homeopathy, they are leaving the practice because they are not getting the results, but they are getting results with combination. And that's why the sale is also more. So it has to be given a benefit of doubt, studied properly, which is lacking in homeopathy. And the research has to be carried out, whether these really combinations are making good effect or not. When they are carried out by the pharma companies, the results can be biased also, prejudiced also, and manipulated also. But when it is being done at a higher level where there is no conflict of the interest, and really what we have to see whether they are really working. I would like to share one case which I had seen. I was treating with a classical homeopathy, and the patient was getting relief, but the main disease was not getting better. He was into the fourth stage with metastasis in bone, brain, liver with ascites and skeletal region. Now, this patient, I miserably failed in that case, where I found that patient was not getting well in the pathology, but in the symptom wise is feeling energetic, little appetite used to come. So I was hopeful that he will clear one day, but he didn't clear. Finally, he left my treatment and went to an homeopath who was practicing like a GP, using all the combinations as well as different mother tinctures mixtures. Some about 10 to 12 he has given. This patient had come back to me in my native, he was staying. He said, give me only the tonics, prescribe me for the energy. And I saw his all reports and they were cleared with the combination drugs. So that raised the question that are we biased? Are we with not a complete research and done? And are we doing this right, wrong? Now, homeopathy 200 years back, that was a different time. There were no pollutions. The vital forces were good. Now the whole stress life is there. And even the selection is not very, suppose if one patient goes to 6 or 10 topmost homeopaths of India, and the same doctor cannot prescribe the same remedy that is been selected by another. So there is a difference of opinion. Then how can we say that this remedy is correct? We are not sure short. We get results, but what are the percentage of results? And therefore, this always has kept a question mark in me that whether these combinations are right, wrong, but I've seen in a practical life, these combinations used by the other doctor, this patient showed in a results, all the lesions cleared and the patient was relieved from pathology. So it again said ki what is to be done. Ideally speaking, in homeopathy, what I suggest and what I feel in the practical experience, rather than combination of all the medicines together, there has to be a placement of proper, commonly required medications that is, and along that is for the pathology, and a doctor should select a constitutional medicine, mostly in a incurable and intractable cases, where they should try first the classical homeopathy. If they are not getting results and pathology is not getting reversed, where there can be these combinations can be useful. Now, as in conventional medicine, there are material doses which has got its side effects. But what we have seen that if you give wrong medicine also, or in the larger doses also, it can only prove the symptoms which come back to normal when the medicine is stopped. But there are no adverse reactions. And therefore, one has to be very open and see challenges are there. We are at a very primary stage. The research now is going on after funding from the central government. I am also a member of CCRH, Scientific Advisory Board, where I am seeing now a lot of researches are being carried out, and they has to be carried out, which we are putting up in the meeting, that what are these combinations. Instead of directly shunning them, we have to prove by the research methods, because they might be good, as I have seen in the cases practically, that what is happening. I am not using combinations for certain, but I am placing the drugs which are required for pathology and legal, and that is at a different intervals rather than combining half an hour, 1 hour interval, because according to the homeopathic principle, both medicines cannot be combined and given. But what is there? What is there?
Sir, you have yeah, I'm so sorry I'm intervening. It's a very interesting topic, and from your talk, I have got an idea that we have a separate discussion on particularly this topic, that whether homeopathic combination, because from your talk, what I'm getting is that sometimes supposing the patient is given 10 things and only 1 or 2 things have worked, but 8 things were, 8 prescribed medications were given unnecessarily. Secondly, they might be there because we have different approaches in organ of medicine, where we have an palliative approach, or sometimes, as you have said, that in terminal cases, sometimes it is not the time for only a single remedy prescription. So this is another our homeopathic circles we would have. I am seeing Dr. Dryani sir on the screen, so I would also invite him. But before that, I would like our panelist, Dr. Ramesh, to come in. Dr. Ramesh, are you able to? So I would repeat the question to you, that I would like you to throw some light on, in the Ministry of Ayush, do we have for Ayush systems any regulations of forming the combinations in homeopathy, Ayurveda, Unani? Are there any rational or irrational, ethical or unethical committees which have a regulation and watch on what is happening in the market? Sir, Dr. Jaswant, I will come back to you again.
May I speak, sir?
Yes, yes, please.
So thank you, sir. Nice to participate in this meeting. First of all, I congratulate the organizers.
Sir, maybe you have joined from 2 devices. You have to mute one. Your voice is reverberating.
I'm muted only. I'm muted.
Right, you can talk now.
Sir, actually, so you know PCAMH, Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine of Homeopathy. Actually, it's previously there are 3 organizations. One is Expert Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Laboratory, which is specifically deals only homeopathic products. Homeopathy Laboratory for standardization of homeopathic drugs, and another is Pharmacopoeia Laboratory for Indian Medicine. It will specifically for the ASU drug, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani drugs. So recently, Government of India decided to merge 3 laboratories, one HPL and PLAM, and one other autonomous body PCAMNH, and formed a new organization, that is Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, as a subordinate office. So it is formed in the 2020, in the year of 2020, July month. So our main focus and the key mandates are the preparation of standards for the ASU and H drugs, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathy drugs. And also we are working as a appellate laboratory. So previously in homeopathy pharmacopoeia laboratory, we received so many samples from the state licensing authorities, state drug testing laboratories, even from the dispensaries for testing. But after formation of this new organization, and we acting as a appellate laboratory. So any samples challenge before the honorable courts, that samples only refer to us lab, our laboratory. Okay, coming to standards. Okay, so I can say compared to other pharmacopoeias. So pharmacopoeia is a compendium of guidelines, standards, where we can retain the entire, prescribe the entire the quality of that purity, identity, everything on that monograph format. So I can say compared to other pharmacopoeias, Indian standards has a more publications. So it's around 5,000 publications. I can say around 5,000 monographs. So we have in the form of Ayurveda Pharmacopoeia of India, Unani Pharmacopoeia of India, Siddha Pharmacopoeia of India, and Homeopathy Pharmacopoeia of India. So coming to this today's session on this fixed dose combinations. So in our Indian system of medicines, so we call as a formulations. The terminology is different, but the meaning is same. So more than 2 ingredients. So it called as formulations. So we have a separate pharmacopoeias for formulations in Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani. But we don't have the formulation for the homeopathy. So the reason behind, so this matter is already we put up in a, we have separate committees, scientific committees, like Homeopathy Pharmacopoeia Committee. I'm now acting as a member secretary for that said committee. So we put up this matter before the HPSC to why other systems are having formulations, combined drugs, why our homeopathy medicines don't have the these formulations. So then all the members agreed that said that since we don't have any authoritative literature, so as on date there is no any authoritative literature that is containing the formulations. So that based on that reason, they have rejected this proposal for framing the new pharmacopoeia for the formulations. And coming to this, whatever amendments in homeopathy, Siddha, Ayurveda, and Unani. So there are a separate, like as you DTAP, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Drug Technical Advisory Board, okay, and DCC, Drug Committee for Drug Consultative Committee. These two are statutory bodies under Ministry of Ayush. Actually, previously, in up to 2014, there is only DTAB, Drug Technical Advisory Body, under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. But after formation of the separate ministry, Ministry of Ayush, so recently they constituted a separate technical advisory board for this ASU system. Unfortunately, in that ASU system, they are not included that homeopathy, but they are inviting homeopathy industry experts and also from the councils DGCCRH and NICH, and also our directors are also one of the member on that ASU DTAP. Okay, whatever the changes, whatever the amendments we have to make, or we have to propose any new drugs or any new criteria we have to set for this drugs. So that proposal go through the ASU tab. Then the ASU tab recommend to the government. Then after that recommendation, it will come to into the Drug and Cosmetic Act and our rules. So this is for ASU tab. The chairman will be the Minister of Health and Family Welfare, DGGH, and the member secretary is the advisor of the drug policy section, Minister of Ayush. And just if you are permit, I can just play 2-3 slides. You will get more idea. Can I permit, sir? Hello.
Yes, please, you can share.
Muktinder,
You
sir?
can, I would listen to you for 4-5 minutes more. So if it is,
Hello. May I audible?
yes, you
Yes,
are
yes.
audible. Can you hear us? Hello? Sir, can you
Hello.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Sir, can you hear us? Are we audible to you?
Yes, yes, madam. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
please, you can share in within 5 minutes. You will wind up, then you
Yes,
can
yes.
please.
Sure.
Yes, yes, please.
Sure.
Please, you can
Sure,
share
ma'am.
your
Sure.
slides.
Muktinder, sir, can we allow him as a co-host to
Yes,
present?
yes, yes, yes. Are
Thank
you doing it or I shall do it?
Please, you do it, sir. I think he has 2 IDs. Let me check. Anji, it is in capital letters.
Yes, yes, that's one only.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, so you can now share your slide.
May I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible and your slides are visible.
Sir, I just introduced everything, how this commission is established. And our vision and mandate also I explained. So for setting the quality standards and also acting as a appellate laboratory for this ASU and homeopathy drugs. So we have provided these 4 services to public. One is a central acting laboratory and publication of the pharmacopoeias, and also we provide the capacity building training program, and also we maintain PRS and BRS also. So I discussed previously. So this is a technical committee. The PCMH entire this form standards will be published based on this committee recommendations. So first, whatever the proposal we have to put in the subcommittees like APSC, Ayurveda Pharmacopoeia Subcommittee, Siddha Pharmacopoeia Subcommittee, Unani Pharmacopoeia Subcommittee, HPSC. After recommendation of these subcommittees, they will go to the PC, Pharmacopoeia Committee. So adding new drugs or any formulations, they will examine. If they are satisfied, they will recommend to the SAB, Scientific Advisory Board. If not, they are not satisfied, they revert back to the subcommittees. Then after SAB, Scientific Advisory Body, they will examine the proposal. If they're satisfied, then they recommend for the publication. And it will go into the public domain. We will upload the whatever the monograph standards for the stakeholders' comments for 30 days. Then after we will go to the publication by following few codal formalities. So I already discussed this pharmacopoeia. What is pharmacopoeia? So these are the different pharmacopoeias we are publishing. See, you just see the figures. Is more than 5,000 standards we have. So you compare to other pharmacopoeias, Chinese, they have traditional medicine more than 2,500 monographs, and even European pharmacopoeia, WHO. So compared to other pharmacopoeias, the Indian standards have the more, and they are very quality standards. You just see this comparison. So our standards are meeting all the parameters compared to WHO and European pharmacopoeia, except this radioactive residues we are not performing. The remaining parameters, all our pharmacopoeial standards have, these are all parameters. So one of the benefit for the stakeholders for easy of purchasing this monographs standards, we have recently developed a portal for the online publication selling for the purchase. Anybody can purchase this monographs by paying 50 rupees online. So this is also one of the formulation during COVID pandemic. We have developed these formulations. It has a good response from the all citizens, and we have received good response from the PM office also. Aishquat. So it's very helpful in the COVID pandemic. So one standard and one nation. So we have developing a, see now I have shown different pharmacopoeias, different standards. But in this scope, we are developing a one standard which are using in all systems, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Homeopathy. So no need to refer separately for Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Homeopathy. This is a one herb, one standard, one nation, like a harmonization. So in this, we have developed 50 monographs, and we already uploaded in our website, PCMNH website. I request all you go, please visit and just check this monographs. If you need any updation, if you want to suggest any new things, you can free to suggest us. And these are ongoing publications. These are we want to go publish this pharmacopoeias. So homeopathic medicine, this is a definition in our Drug and Cosmetic Act. So I told who is the regulatory, how the regulatory, but these are ISTAB, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani Technical Advisory Board, and DCC. Okay, and the Drug and Cosmetic Act Rule 33 EED. So it will tell them, it give the full power to government. It can prohibit the manufacturing of the any medicine, ASU. But in this, that homeopathy is not included, but they are now trying to include that one also. So the government has a full powers to prohibit the manufacturing of the medicine. So one of the other area is a pharmacovigilance. So like allopathic, and we have separate pharmacovigilance for the ASU and HF drugs also. So the main center is in AIA, All India Institute of Ayurveda, and they have total regions, sub-regions, total 98 pharmacovigilance centers we have across the country. So this will, the main aim is the reporting any adverse reactions, okay, and also misleading advertisements. So we can report this pharmacovigilance system. So thank you. This is our contact details. So you can contact for any further information. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh. You have taught us about the basic framework and the basic hierarchy of the things for it. So there are many new things for us practitioners. And we'll come to you again, once again, if there are any queries. So now I would
Sure.
like to invite Dr. Jawar Shah, who is a legend in himself, a very young man and very enthusiastic. He has always gave us a lot of energy. So we have three young men over here, Dr. Wahi, Dr. Shah, and Dr. Jadbriani, sir. All three young people, they are always a source of energy to all of us. So I would now like to invite Dr. Jawar Shah, sir, because we all know that he's a technocrat. He's working with AI. He's working about sensitization of our homeopathic fraternity and making them aware of the latest things. So Dr. Shah, I would like to know your views about FDCs in general, in homeopathic combination, as we have seen, and how is the future of these two things and how this relates to our teachings and our practitioners.
Very, very good evening, friends. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Dr. Ramesh. You opened my speech. You know how beautifully you said about the pharmacovigilance. And, you know, that's the most important thing, which is today important. And then it started with the 4 pillars, which is also very interesting. And Dr. Jaswant said it very clearly that, you know, it is open at both the ends and one should be like a children, you know, open to learning. The most important thing is today, as I am from the technology, today, anything which we want to share in next 2 seconds, it can reach to all 250 countries. So it's time that, you know, we make this available. You know, there are reasons. The government will not ban something which is without logic. They have evidences. And that is why I made a small video and shared it with everybody. I have shared it to more than 1,000 people across India. So what is, Dr. Ramesh, very important is the ethical responsibility. Anything which we do, we have to be ethically responsible. You know, we cannot just say anything. The second aspect of the treatment or any medicine, it has to be promoting safe and holistic care. Safe and holistic care is very important. Then it is very important that we educate our patients, what is right, what is wrong, and what are the parameters to be followed. It is very, very important. I'll just share you a very simple case which has come to me. And the patient was receiving some cardiac medicine, and every morning he would start crying. Now, this was not acceptable to the patient. They said that something is wrong. And the moment that medicine in the morning was stopped, immediately within 48 hours, he recovered completely. Now, this is very, very important for us, the educating the patients. And the most difficult thing which I have seen in our practice, that we must have two things which are ready, that the effects and the side effects of the medicine, there should be a directory which should be available to all. And second thing, the interaction of the medicine. This is a very, very important thing, that interaction of this medicine, and human being is totally independent of that. So if you want to introduce some combination of the medicine, I feel that it should be tried on animals, then on human being, and that it should be allowed to market. The third aspect of it is ensuring the patient safety. Patient safety is the most important thing, which is very, very important. Then evidence-based treatment. Anybody can use any combination. Dr. Jaswant Patil said, in a beautiful case, there were metastasis complication and somebody used some homeopathic medicines combinations and the patient recovered. Now, there is Dr. Bhatnagar from Delhi, who used to use multiple medicines and different combinations, and he used to get fantastic results in cancer. But see, all these medicines, all our scientific thing has been documented. Like in homeopathy, we have inimical medicine, follow well medicine, complementary medicine, all these things have been documented. But even homeopathy, the right thing has to be taught to the people. Like there are some medicine which cannot be given in tuberculosis case. Now this should be available. And I have seen with my own eyes, the patient dying, like remedies like heparsulf, phosphorus, tuberculinum, cephalinum, calcarea phos, kalicarb, silica cannot be given in old heel tuberculosis cases. It can literally break open the old heel cavity. So this is very important. So ensuring patient safety, advocating evidence-based. The next is collaboration with the government. We have the heads of government. There has to be collaboration with the heads of different systems. Then reducing the medication burden. I had shared a small film in which 20, 30 medicines were given, and genuinely they interact. And 1/3 of the death happened because of these combinations. Then we have to have some public health support initiative. So this should be available to all. Then global standardization. Today, if we find something, there are a lot of things which can be made available by standardization. As you said it so rightly, that so many details are available. Let this be made public, let this be available and let people know. I'm thankful that Dr. Muktinder and Dr. Amita has created this platform, and this platform should take it to the next level. And then the last thing is building a trust of the patient. The patient should have complete faith. So I feel that this should not end here. We have started the initial phase. We should make this available to the people all over the globe. Like we have user base in 150 countries. We continue our teaching program in 108 countries. Let this be capsulated. Dr. Amita, if you can capsulate this and share it with us, we'll make it available to nearly 45,000, 50,000 doctors in the world.
Sure,
I
sir.
want this to be not ending the process. This is the beginning. And Dr. Muktinder Singh also has got so many new ideas. So I just wanted to share this, that let us work all together. And I think that we should support government. You know, they are not doing anything which is just random. You know, suddenly they have not come up with some ideas. So, I mean, I think we should support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jawar sir. You have really summed up the things in very short time. Now, completing the first round of all the panelists, I would now invite Dr. Amita Arora, who is a young but very senior practitioner. And what is, as a homeopath and at the ground root level, we all are attached with the patients. How you see this FDC banning some drugs, and then authorities and then Ayush Ministry having some regulations, and as Dr. Jaswant Patel sir said, that it is not always the single remedy, but sometimes there are some unexpected result from some combinations also. So what would you like to throw your points, or where would you like to put your views in front about all this matter?
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, First of all, thanks to all the panelists. They have given up their valuable feedbacks and eye-opening session. Actually, I should say this is. So, sir, मैंने अपनी प्रैक्टिस में I would say कि प्रैक्टिस से भी पहले लर्निंग कहते हैं ना कि घर पे ही शुरू होती है. तो व्हेन आई वाजंट अ डॉक्टर एक्चुअली, सो घर पे जब मेडिसिन वगैरह कोई लेता था तब तो कन्वेंशनल मेडिसिन ही दी जाती थी, या मैंने खुद ने, बिकॉज ऑनेस्टली आई वुड एडमिट दैट आई वाज an asthmatic patient in my 10th class and I had given my board exams in that asthma attack. So मेरे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट था सर उन सब नेबुलाइजेशन इनहेलर्स को झेलना, और मुझे उल्टी भी आती थी, मेरे को डायरिया हो जाता था, मेरे पेट में तकलीफ होती थी. बट उस वक्त और कोई चारा नहीं होता था, बिकॉज एग्जाम्स देने होते थे और ये था कि पढ़ो और जल्दी से दवाई खाओ और एग्जाम करके आओ. सो जब मुझे ये स्ट्राइक हुआ, वो मुझे खुद से स्ट्राइक हुआ कि भाई इन सब दवाइयों का बहुत साइड इफेक्ट होता है और ये सब दवाइयां बहुत हार्मफुल होती हैं हम सबके लिए. देन ग्रेजुअली एज आई वेंट इनटू मेडिकल एंड आई चोज होम्योपैथी, के बिकॉज माय फादर टोल्ड मी दैट इट इज सेफ एंड इट इज इफेक्टिव एंड इट इज वेरी गुड साइंस, इट इज अ वेरी गुड मेडिकल साइंस. सो तब मेरा विश्वास और बढ़ गया जब मैंने होम्योपैथी में रिजल्ट्स देखे. फिर अपनी प्रैक्टिस में आके सर मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा दुख इस बात का हुआ जब मैं देखती थी कि पेशेंट्स ऐसे एलोपैथिक मेडिसिन, आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन या कोई भी मेडिसिन बिना जाने बिना समझे लेना शुरू कर देते हैं और घर में सबको बांटना शुरू कर देते थे. क्योंकि कुछ मेडिसिन ऐसी हैं जो कि हर कोई अपने घर में रखता है, हम भी रखते हैं, क्योंकि जब किसी को कोई इमरजेंसी होती है. सी आई वुड से वी आर नॉट हेयर टू क्रिटिसाइज एनी पैथी, वी आर नॉट हेयर टू क्रिटिसाइज एनी अदर डॉक्टर्स और प्रैक्टिशनर्स. हर एक साइंस की, हर एक मेडिकल साइंस की एक ब्लेसिंग है. बट सर मैं कुछ स्लाइड्स शेयर करना चाहूंगी, कुछ ऑथेंटिक इंफॉर्मेशन जो कि बहुत ही रिलायबल सोर्सेज से है. प्लीज अलाउ मी टू शेयर माय स्लाइड ओनली फॉर 1 minute. ओनली फॉर 1 minute, सर.
Yes, please. Yes.
थैंक यू. Are you able to see my slide, sir?
Yes, yes. It's visible.
So why the center has banned these 156 irrational fixed dose combinations? Because जो मैंने जितनी न्यूज पढ़ी, मेरी रिसर्च हुई, मैंने देखा कि इसकी कोई स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन नहीं है. पेशेंट्स के लिए बहुत हार्मफुल इफेक्ट्स आ रहे थे. एंड आई एम थैंकफुल टू गवर्नमेंट दैट यस ये सब स्टेप्स लिए जा रहे हैं. आप बाहर की कंट्रीज में देखिए, अगर तो विदाउट प्रिस्क्रिप्शन कोई ड्रग्स नहीं दिए जाते. डॉक्टर की जब तक प्रिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं होती कोई मेडिसिन कोई ले नहीं सकता केमिस्ट के पास जाके. ड्रग रेगुलेटर्स जो हैं दोज आर इशूइंग नोटिसेस एक्चुअली, क्योंकि अगर आप देखें तो आई ड्रॉप्स, ब्लड प्रेशर मेडिसिन, दीज आर कॉजिंग सो हार्मफुल इफेक्ट्स. You can see the date, you can also see the sources from which these news are coming up. So cough syrups, 141 children died of these cough syrups. I'm not naming here any company, I'm not naming here any medicine, but this is the news. लोगों को अवेयरनेस नहीं है सर, लोगों को पता नहीं है। सोशल मीडिया इतना ओपन है, लेकिन लोग क्या करेंगे, रील्स देखेंगे, कुछ भी देखेंगे। जो नॉलेज वाली चीजें हैं, ये इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत कम पहुंच पा रही है। एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली सर, इंडिया में इस तरीके से कमर्शियल एडवर्टाइजमेंट होता है मेडिसिन का। व्हाई नॉट होम्योपैथिक कॉफ सिरप्स? अगर इस तरीके के कॉफ सिरप्स बच्चों की जान ले रहे हैं, तो व्हाई नॉट होम्योपैथिक मेडिसिन सर? व्हाई कांट वी प्रमोट होम्योपैथिक मेडिसिन टू दैट लेवल? क्योंकि होम्योपैथिक मेडिसिन का कोई साइड इफेक्ट्स नहीं है। एंड जब डॉक्टर के थ्रू जाएगी वो कॉफ सिरप्स या कोई भी मेडिसिन, तो वो एक लर्नेड पर्सन के थ्रू जा रही है। यहाँ पे क्या है, हम सबकी हैबिट है अपनी कुछ कंसल्टेशन बचाने के लिए डॉक्टर के पास ना जाके केमिस्ट को डॉक्टर बना लेते हैं, या गूगल को डॉक्टर बना लेते हैं, सर्च करते हैं। आजकल तो लोग इतने इंटेलिजेंट हो गए, खुद को ही डॉक्टर समझने लग गए हैं कि गूगल पे टाइप किया, खुद भी खाई और दूसरे को भी दी वो मेडिसिन। सो ये सब मैंने जितनी भी न्यूज निकाली है, सब रिलायबल सोर्सेस से निकाली है। दैट किस तरीके के कॉम्पनसेशंस दिए जा रहे हैं एक्चुअली नेग्लिजेंस के लिए, क्योंकि ये नेग्लिजेंस हुई है। अभी डॉक्टर जवाहर शाह सर ने ये टीबी ड्रग्स की बात करी, एंड जब मैं ये स्लाइड प्रिपेयर करी थी, ये न्यूज मेरे सामने सबसे ज्यादा फ्लैश करी। सो मुझे लगा कि ये मुझे जरूर दिखाना चाहिए, क्यों दिए जा रहे हैं कॉम्पनसेशंस, और अगर इस तरीके की चीजें हो रही हैं तो वो बैन क्यों नहीं हो रही, स्टॉप क्यों नहीं हो रही, क्यों ये मार्केट में अभी भी इजीली अवेलेबल है। आई एम टेलिंग यू, ये 156 जो फॉर्मुलेशन है ड्रग्स जो बैन हुए हैं सर, अभी भी अवेलेबल होंगे केमिस्ट की शॉप पे, कोई भी बेच रहा होगा, क्योंकि केमिस्ट भी तो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट होते हैं। एज सर सेड दैट यस, इट इज अ मार्केट, इट इज अ लॉबी। सो ये प्लीज, ये सारी जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आती है, जितने भी डॉक्टर्स हमारा ये सेशन भी अटेंड कर रहे हैं, मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप लोग जैसे जैसे होम्योपैथी पढ़ते हैं और होम्योपैथी के बारे में आगे जाते हैं, प्लीज एलोपैथी भी पढ़िए, आयुर्वेदा भी पढ़िए। आपको पता होना चाहिए कि किस मेडिसिन से क्या अफेक्ट हो रहा है। अभी रिसेंटली कुछ दिनों पहले की न्यूज थी कि एक आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन में, मैंने देखा नहीं सॉरी, कि किस मेडिसिन में एक्चुअली कुछ नॉनवेज कंटेंट मिला है या क्या मिला है, एंड दैट कंपनी इज ऑल्सो बीइंग सेंट नोटिस। सो डेफिनेटली स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन होनी चाहिए। डॉक्टर एम रमेश ने भी जिस तरीके से हमसे शेयर किया कि ये प्रोसेस चल रहा है, होम्योपैथी के लिए भी होगा और होम्योपैथी में भी स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन आएंगी। कॉम्बिनेशन जहां पे जिस तरीके का अगर स्टैंडर्डाइज है और इन फेवर ऑफ ह्यूमन हेल्थ है, तो उसको देने से कोई हार्म नहीं है सर। लेकिन until and unless it is proved, it is standardized, हमें कोविड के बारे में सबको पता है। इवन कंपनी हैज आल्सो एक्सेप्टेड कि हाँ, हमारी ये कोविड वैक्सीन से हुआ है। सबने देखा है सर, कोविड के बाद हमारे पास कितने पेशेंट्स आते हैं जो बोलते हैं जी मेरे तो घुटनों में दर्द शुरू हो गया, मेरे तो पेट में ये हो गया, मेरी तो आईसाइट वीक हो गई इसके बाद, कोविड वैक्सीन लेने के बाद। इतने इतने कार्डियक अरेस्ट इतनी यंग एज में हो रहे हैं, क्यों हो रहे हैं सर? क्या इसकी कोई भी किसी की भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है? ये वेट लॉस के लिए जो ड्रग्स आ रहे हैं, ओबिसिटी सबसे ज्यादा होती जा रही है यूरोप में, अमेरिका में। आप देखिए, इंडिया भरा पड़ा है ओबिसिटी से। बच्चे जो हैं वो ओबीस पैदा हो रहे हैं, डायबिटिक पैदा हो रहे हैं। लेकिन क्या ये जो ड्रग्स आ रहे हैं, इनकी कोई किसी तरीके की कोई है कि भाई हाँ, ह्यूमन हेल्थ के लिए ये कितने हार्मफुल हो रहे हैं? कोई भी इसका कोई जवाबदारी नहीं है। एडवर्टाइजमेंट देखते हैं पेशेंट, और वो देखते हैं कि किस सेलेब ने प्रमोट किया है। आजकल तो गुटखा भी सेलेब प्रमोट करने लगे हैं सर, तो दवाई अगर सेलेब प्रमोट करेगा, ओहो उसने प्रमोट किया है, तो वो जरूर खरीदने जाएगा, डॉक्टर के पास नहीं जाएंगे सर। सो हमारे इंडियन लॉ में, इंडियन एथिक्स में, मेडिकल प्रैक्टिसेस में भी बहुत सारे ड्रॉबैक्स हैं सर, जिसको रेगुलेट करना बहुत जरूरी है। एंड मुझे बहुत दुख होता है ये देख के, जब मेरे पास छोटे छोटे बच्चे आते हैं जुवेनाइल डायबिटीज से, थायराइड से। नेचुरली प्रेगनेंसी में जो मदर टैबलेट्स ले रही है, जो मदर खाना खा रही है, जो मदर दवाइयां कंज्यूम कर रही है, उसी से ही हो रहा है ना सर ये सब कुछ। बच्चों की हाइट नहीं बढ़ रही, बच्चों की मेंटल हेल्थ नहीं बढ़ रही, एडीएचडी, ऑटिज्म, कितना कुछ हो रहा है। हम एक लेवल पे 15 मिनट में ये सब बातें खत्म भी नहीं कर सकते. एंड डॉक्टर जवाहर शाह सर ने बिल्कुल सही कहा दैट वी शुड नॉट स्टॉप ओवर हियर. व्हाई वी शुड स्टॉप? जब मैंने ये 156 ड्रग्स वाली जो न्यूज जब देखी थी, आई मेड इट अ पॉइंट दैट आई विल सेंड दिस टू माय पेशेंट्स थ्रू व्हाट्सएप. नॉट बिकॉज आई हैव टू क्रिटिसाइज, आई हैव टू जस्ट मेक देम अवेयर कि भाई तुम ये दवाई खाओगे, पैरासिटामोल है, डाइक्लोफिनैक है, जो भी कॉम्बिनेशन है, देख के जाओ भाई. सिर्फ अपने केमिस्ट के पास जाके भैया हमें ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, प्लीज बता दो हम क्या दवाई लें. क्यों? आपकी हेल्थ है. आप 1,000 रुपए पिज्जा के लिए खर्च कर सकते हो, लेकिन डॉक्टर के पास नहीं जा सकते. 5,000 की साड़ी जो आप मैरिज में पहनोगे और उसके बाद आप उसको ऐसे ही रख दोगे, लेकिन डॉक्टर के पास नहीं जाओगे, क्योंकि डॉक्टर तो भाई फीस लेगा. केमिस्ट के पास जाके पूछ लो. और ये सब चीजें फैमिली से ही शुरू होती हैं, और फैमिली में ही पहले बैन होनी चाहिए सर. आई एम सॉरी फॉर बीइंग लाउड.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Amita, we can understand your emotions. Actually, being in the moderator of this discussion, I need to keep it on track. So what is happening is that you are probably talking about OTC drugs and FDC drugs. So I would again here like to talk to Dr. Taneja sir, that are you here, sir? Dr. Taneja sir. Yes, please unmute. So what is as Dr. Amita has raised a point that this celebrities promoting certain drug combinations. So is there any regulation on that or anything that that self-medication can be controlled? Dr. Taneja sir. Amita unko karwa do, please. Unmute.
Right. Can I have the question again, sir?
Sir, I'm asking that as Dr. Amita has raised a question that there are one OTC drugs, over-the-counter drugs, and one are this FDCs. So is there any difference between FDC and OTC drugs? And secondly, self-medication and celebrities promoting certain drug combinations over the TV, over the channels. Is it somewhere which should be promoted or stopped?
Now, when we are discussing all these things, we know that in pharmaceuticals, you have the pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, and then pharmacovigilance, which we take care of. But another factor is pharmacoeconomics, where the drug companies come into the picture. And the distinction between OTC and the prescribed drugs is now gradually diminishing. You will find chemists handing over drugs which are supposed to be prescribed directly to the patient and even suggesting to them that this drug, the one I am proposing, is better than the one prescribed by your doctor. It contains a combination of three things. It will take care of your three problems instead of one, and you will feel better. And the patient accepting it. We talked of the trust between the doctors and the patients. Nowadays, you find there is more trust developing between the patients and the chemists. I mean, they tend to go to the chemist and whatever he suggests, even if it is not prescribed by the doctor, is being taken. So there is a lack of awareness in the patients. We require to make public awareness very much a part of the robust health system. Because if the public is not aware of what is causing harm to them, there's nothing we can do about it. So, like I told you, the fourth pillar, the consumer needs to be made aware of all the pitfalls of these OTC drugs which are being done, which are being promoted by celebrities or others without understanding. Therefore, I have always made a point for having a national portal where all the drugs, the benefits, the side effects should be online. All the FDCs which are rational and all the FDCs which are irrational and which have been banned should be available to the public to be taken with a click of the mouse. They should be able, whoever can. And the areas where it cannot be done, then the doctors have a role to play to educate the patients what should be done and what should not be done. Otherwise, the entire, whatever we do, whatever the government is doing its best. I mean, it's not that FDC combinations are not useful. WHO has okayed for HIV, tuberculosis, hepatitis B, these combinations good. So wherever they are synergistic, it will be very useful. And it is not that we are doing away with all these FDC combinations. But the rationality of FDC is less than 20% of the products we have. If you look at the FDC products, I'm giving you an example of antibiotics. In India, we have 118 antibiotics which are in the combination form. Whereas in US and UK, they have hardly given 9 or 10 license to make this combination. So you are bound to get antibiotic resistance developing. So therefore, the OTC products which are being given without the patient understanding. See, we have seen even a simple paracetamol tablet given as an OTC can cause liver failure. We have seen acute fulminating hepatitis in a patient who has taken. So awareness should be there of the drug.
I agree, sir. Really, these are again, this is not a topic which can be discussed in 1.5 hours. It is a
You won't
vast
believe
topic.
in
And
my
see,
in my
what we are doing today is it is about sensitization and, as you said, that public awareness. So we are working as whistleblowers over here. That although we are not the direct authorities, as Dr. Ramesh has rightly said, that yes, government is having its own aspect. It's working on ethics. It's working on forming different committees. Different committees are then referring it to the upper committee, pharmacopoeia committee, and then to finally to that. But actually, at ground level, the things are not as the government is
what has
trying to
happened,
make it.
Dr. Muktinder, is that, see, government has done a great job. They have come out, they have woken up, they have come out banned for 1990. Now they have gone to court and they have got stay order. So what do you do about that? Stay order for so many years. And then these drugs, like I will tell you the example of, I don't know, want to, but Pfizer, let's say, they came out with a cough syrup with that codeine in it. Chlorpheniramine, maleate, and codeine. Codeine is a sort of a narcotic drug which should not be given to general population. So it was banned.
We all are aware that these cough syrups they are used by druggies.
What has happened
They
is
are for
that
the addiction.
the
Yes,
court has given a ban. It was banned, but the
but they are
court
still
given a
available.
stay.
They are
And by
still
that
available.
time, what they have done is they have removed the product codeine from their formulation, added some other drug, and would be marketing with the same name. So these sort of practices are being taken. It is not the small companies, but major companies are doing it. And
So I would,
certification.
sorry, sir, I'm interrupting. I'm coming to Dr. Ramesh. Do you have any quick suggestion, 1 to 2 minutes, that how enforcement can be done? Because as now till now we have discussed that there are certain drugs which are not good for human consumption. But still, here I would like to highlight a point about the homeopathy, because Dr. Ramesh, maybe I don't know what are your encounters with homeopathy. In homeopathy, I'm not talking about combinations, but pulsatilla or the drugs which were proved by Dr. Hahnemann 250 years ago, they are still equally relevant. While the traditional medicine, we have seen that certain drug is being introduced and after few years it is banned. So there are, as I can say, nimesulide, or even there are many drugs, I'm not naming them, which were earlier called the magical drugs, and then later on they were banned because of their known side effects. So you are right that one should be aware, but there are avastatin drugs kind of scandal. We all read that there are certain merits and demerits of all. So all these drugs need to be discussed. But in homeopathy practice, we have seen that the drugs which were proved, because homeopathic drugs, they are proved on healthy human beings. So this is the biggest advantage of homeopathy. So now I would like Dr. Ramesh to have a few 2 minutes comment on this, that what should be done for the enforcement of what is going wrong.
Sir, coming to your point regarding the standards for removing some homeopathy drugs due to magical remedies, under magical remedies. So first, what were our first we set a criteria, inclusion criteria to adopt a monograph. any monograph, so which has a high demand in the market and which has a clinical safety efficacy, which will prove the clinical safety efficacy, okay, and which has a commercial point of also, we are considering the stakeholders view also. So the drugs we taken a priority to make a standards, prepare a standards and bring it into a pharmacopoeia. And coming to this Magical Remedies Act is it is acting very effectively. You just go to that pharmacovigilance website, so you can find more than 3,000. You can find more than 3,000 complaints on this Magical Remedies Act. This misleading advertisements, okay, and other promoting some other madam now has said promoting some brands. So you can find so many complaints on that pharmacovigilance website also. And coming to this homeopathy formulations, I said previously, I said we had a proposal to introduce these formulations in homeopathy also, but we don't have any authoritative literature. So recently, government has released authoritative literatures books containing 20 books. Yeah, I can share, madam also through WhatsApp. I can share that gazette notification. We have a authoritative literatures books. We have 20 authoritative literature books. So what are the drugs are mentioned in that authoritative literature?
Dr.
Please,
Ramesh, I'm interrupting you over here. You said there are more than 300 complaints on the website about this kind. Has there any action been taken, or they are just complaints? Their meaning as
no,
complaints.
they will there is a separate mechanism is there for their in ministry. So it's a pharmacovigilance is a separate scheme. It is a central sponsored scheme. So it's is looking by IA, All India Institute of Ayurveda. It comes under there are four regional centers are there for coming to homeopathy. NIH Kolkata, NIH Kolkata is the main center. For Siddha, NIS Siddha, National Institute of Siddha Chennai. For Jaipur, for Ayurveda, NIA Jaipur. Okay, Unani, NIA, NIU, it is located in Karnataka. So these are the regional centers for this specific medicines, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, homeopathy, and their peripheral research centers also there. They report to the in
So,
online reporting
sir,
system also
I'm
in online.
interrupting due to constraint of time. I would now like to thank you for your
Sure.
participation. I would
Okay.
like to move to Dr. Jaswant Patil, sir. Sir, what is your final take on the topic so that I come to the conclusion now, because we are already nearing our conclusion time. Dr. Patil, sir, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I have listened to everything, and I feel this particularly the FDC and OTC in homeopathy is totally different as compared to the conventional medicine where there are material doses. Their bad combination, or even in Ayurveda, their material doses can cause an effect on the body. Now, what Dr. Jawahar Shah said, that silicia, phosphorus can deteriorate a case. But in many tuberculosis cases, even these remedies have proved to be effective. So there is not that it will cause problems everywhere. So there has to be some studies done concrete. Dr. Ramesh said that there are no authentic books, because in homeopathy I am seeing for last 240 years it has come up. There are no further advances. Everybody had stuck at one point of the time, where from there are no recent advances, no studies done, no scientific things done, and therefore we are sticking on to a principles at 245 years ago. Had Hahnemann been alive, he had always says, dare to be wise, open up and see what is there. The homeopathy today would have been totally different. But we have just taken that he's a master, and he had a short life of 92 years as per the Rishi Munis who have written all the science and Vedas. So one person cannot complete everything about the science. He has given such a good open up to start with, that homeopathy is best without the side effects and everything. And we should open up our eyes, do the advancement, do what are the, suppose what is the combination medicines we get? What are the molecules in that? Can we know? Can we see? Can we define? So there are no chemical molecules, they are nanoparticles. How they are working, whether they are causing interactions, whether they are really antidoting. Many times I've seen it is given antidoted, on the contrary, it works well. even in the relationship, there are different books. One place they say it is antidoting, another place they are saying it follows well also. So, there is such a confusion that needs to be sorted out, and then things in homeopathy will make a difference after proper
Yes, that's
study.
why, Dr. Jaswant, I was saying that we need to have a separate discussion on homeopathy in particular. But today's our discussion was about this, making it as Dr. Taneja and Dr. Ramesh has rightly said, that we have to sensitize our homeopaths about these things also. So today's session was more about that sensitization, about the discussion, and opening a new discussion about these things. We are talking about materia medica, we are talking about organ, and we are talking about repertory. But we forget that in introduction of organ and of medicine, as you said, that Dare to be Wise has been written. Dr. Hahnemann has openly discussed these issues about being the conventional medicine using some harsh practices, or how homeopathy is a gentle, permanent, and soft solution to all that. So we need to discuss it. I would now like to move on to Dr. Chivarsha, sir, for the final concluding comments on the topic. Sir, unmute yourself, please. Yes, please.
Thank you. I would say let us use the technology to make this very simple. And the most important thing is documentation. And the things have changed. And then a lot of things like Google Translator, artificial intelligence, we have done a beautiful experiment with a lot of testing parameters. Like we have been using a lot of invasive methods to know the human, different pathological or laboratory investigations. Now the technology has come up in such a beautiful way that it is able to diagnose a lot of cardiac conditions even before they develop. So same way, whatever work we do together, like we have done a beautiful study of studying 75 points across the upper part of the body and face, and it can give you the emotions like love, anger, frustration, stress. नव रस जो हम बोलते हैं वो भी मिलते हैं, स्ट्रेस और एंगेजमेंट भी मिल सकता है. एंड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ HbA1c and सब कुछ अभी ब्लड प्रेशर, पल्स, रेस्पिरेशन can be easily got only from studying the AI technology within 60 seconds. So I think we should implement this, and whatever we combine and put it across, it should be available in multiple languages. It should not be restricted, say 12 or 13 more major Indian languages and 12 or 13 international languages. We can use a lot of Google Translator and a lot of things, and I think it will make a difference. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you, sir.
Amita,
Thank
Dr.
you. Yes,
Panelists.
before concluding, I would come to Dr. Vahi sir for final comments also. But I would like to ask Dr. Swaminarayan sir. He is also doing a lot of pharmacological things. Sir, you can unmute and you can put your views within 2 minutes only. Dr. Swaminarayan.
Rather than putting my views, I would just like to answer the question which was raised, that whether celebrities can endorse any medicine. No. The Drug Act does not allow any medicines to be advertised, whether a celebrity or a doctor or anybody else. There is a drug and there is a drug act, other act, which is kind of be the Magic Remedy Act, which does not allow any advertisement of kind of be medicines, except the few medicines, which is prior, the government gives permission. Those are the kind of the products which can be advertised to general people. Otherwise, the concern which was kind of be rightly posed, but it is just a concern, it is not a reality. And that's how Patanjali had faced recently the contempt of court by Supreme Court, and that was a contempt of court, not the otherwise. but there are the act and rule are very clear. It is the question is the implementation, whether they are being implemented correctly or not. And third
Yes, the
thing is, yeah,
enforcement, the Indian ecosystem or Indian environment is not very friendly about the enforcement of the law. So if
no,
we
it's
start
not that
enforcing,
it is the environment is friendly. It is the implementer. There are various issues we can discuss separately because it's a long topic.
yes,
The
definitely.
country is so big, 140 cannot be billion population being governed or cannot be regulated by few handful of cannot be few thousand drug inspectors. It's humanly not possible. There are more than 10,000 allopathic manufacturing units in the country. So even cannot be one factory is not being cannot be inspected by the ratio is not 1:1.
Yes, you have rightly said there are so many issues. Thank you, Dr. Swaminarayan sir, for your
Thank
participation.
you very
He
much.
has pasted a lot of, if you read the chat box, Dr. Swaminarayan has put a lot of information about today's topic. So I would like all you to read about that also. Dr. Tanmay, I don't know what you have to say. You can say in 1 minute so that I conclude the discussion because we are already more than time. You can, Dr. Tanmay. Do you want to say something? Okay. Dr. Dryani sir, I think has left. I would like Dr. Dryani. Yes, Dr. Tanmay, what you have to say? Please sum up in few seconds only.
Very beneficial. It is very beneficial to me, such a discussion. And I would like to say that this type of conversation, this type of panel discussion will be further continue for
Thank you.
next.
Thank you, Dr. Tanmay. Sir, Vahi sir, would you like to sum up the thing in few seconds, sir?
Sure.
Yes.
One thing I would like to say, because, as quoted by Dr. Ramesh, and partly even by Dr. Jaswant Patil, that there is no addition to the literature. Here, I'm sorry to mention that the list, which has been published by the government to be included in the Schedule 2 of the Act, they have mentioned only 20 books. And that literature is more than 50 years old. There have been additions in certain medicine drugs also, about which we have already conveyed, we have already written to the government, but so far it has not been acted upon. Problems, they are coming, which are just like, for example, mobile radiation. That's the biggest challenge these days. And there have been some studies work done on that, which is also mentioned in another software we find. So the additions are there in the software, but they have yet to be accepted by the government to be taken as an authoritative literature. So they need to be reconfirmed, the action has to be studied, and then it should be added. And there are the drugs, which are already prevalent and available in the market, and they are being used. But they don't find in the list of the 20 authoritative literature as it is called. So that again becomes a technical issue. And obviously, there are more and more discussions, are needed as is the outcome of today's discussion. You are not audible. Dr. Muktinder, you are not audible. Please unmute.
Yes, thank you, sir, for your precious comments. And I would like to take the suggestion of Dr. Jawar Shah, sir, to continue these kind of topics in future also. So now I thank all the beautiful people and intellectuals here, Dr. Taneja, sir, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. Jaswant Patil, sir, Dr. Jawar Shah, sir. You have taken your precious time to pour in your inputs, and this will definitely help us. So now I would thank you on behalf of IHF, Dr. Shelzar. I would have loved to listen, hear from Dr. Dryani sir. But now I will now take over to Dr. Amita for your final comment and vote of thanks from on behalf of IHF. So it has been a great discussion today. We have learned so many things, but definitely it has to be carried forward. Thank you all. Dr. Amita, please.
Thank you everyone for your time and patience. Dr. Bhavna, President Academics and Scientific Committee will be giving vote of thanks. So before we move to Dr. Bhavna, I just want to add one thing, that when government is doing so much efforts, and like Dr. Ramesh, Dr. Jawahar Shah sir, Rajesh Taneja sir has rightly pointed out many things, and I would say bitter truth as well. So it is the duty of patients as well, sir. When we all are concerned about their safety and awareness, the patient should be equally responsible for their own safety and awareness. So they should definitely have this knowledge that where we are going and which doctor we should consult and which medicine we should take. So that is what I have to say today. And over to you, Dr. Bhavna. You can unmute yourself. Dr. Bhavna.
Yeah. So on behalf of IHF, I express my gratitude to all the panelists who have taken out time, accepted our invitation, and were on this very burning topic. I think from here we all can take it ahead and help to create due diligence in our practices and create more awareness and be a better clinician. Dr. Wahi had definitely, set the ball rolling and stated the historical background of the FDCs. Special thanks to Dr. Taneja also, जिन्होंने हमें 4 pillars के बारे में बताया, that all the four pillars are so important. कोई एक भी हिलेगा तो, the building will just collapse. Dr. Ramesh, he stated the technical research aspect and the regulatory provisions. A special thanks to Dr. Jaswant Patil sir, Dr. Jawahar Shah, because they have always been so generous towards IHF by giving their quality time whenever we have needed them. And we hope that we'll have many more such fruitful sessions with them in future. And Dr. Amita, Dr. Muktinder sir, Dr. Wahi, we are all family, but your enthusiasm definitely takes us ahead. And we really wish to hold such productive and such, fruitful discussions in future. So very heartfelt thanks to all the doctors. And last but not the least, all the colleagues, doctors who have attended, made it a point to attend this and made it more productive also. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you on behalf of IHF. Thank you.
Okay, we can close, Amita.
Yes, Dr. Amita.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.